I believe that the biggest thing, the reason why I really talk to actors to come into this program is I want them to get on set and meet people and relax and see what this business is. And I want you to meet people that you can collaborate with as an actor. And Jana had a great point on the last call that we did. And she said, don't go to the big directors and producers. Don't suck up to them, first of all, but also don't go to them and really try to get stuff from them. Yes, make friends with them and make sure that they may know that you're an actor. And that's enough. Plus, when they see you work hard, ever guys ever hear of the umbrella phenomenon? Umbrella phenomenon? Okay. The umbrella phenomenon is when they see you doing one job well, they assume that you do any other job well. Yeah. And so true, right?
Mhm.
So when they see you working hard and you got that get it factor, they're like, oh, if we put her in, she's also going to have that same get it factor as an actor. So that's enough. Okay. Now let's look at the second part of this is you are around such a rich environment of people that are all filmmakers and they're also professionals. Oh, that's freaking perfect. Okay.
Well, I would love to, if I may pontificate off of the whole, yes, who to actually speak to on set,
Yes.
um, in terms of where's the good networking experience and all of that.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm speaking from personal experience. And so this today's stories will include a little bit of what not to do as well. So I hope you guys can learn from those just as much as the me telling you some please do this. But
Me too.
yes, so the big director, the big producer and everything on set, they normally have so much going on and they aren't actually as connected with casting as much as you think they are. Most of the time, like they are told who they are working with, because sometimes even the director is being chosen the same way actors are getting hired for it. The director is being hired for it, so the director might not even have anything to do with the casting. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, so you never know who's going to be involved. So what you can do is use these opportunities on set to get to know where the people that start doing a little bit more indie work. Now, you've heard us talk about this before, that those are most of the time, if you're going to get a job opportunity for acting from set versus just the word of mouth, oh, you're a PA and let me hire you on 50 other PA positions. But the way to move into the acting realm is there's a few people I highly recommend you guys connect with. And these are most of the times, these will be your assistant director and your DP, your director of photography. Now, this is because, well, first of all, I'll talk about what their roles are and why opportunities for you. But I also would like you guys to understand why acting jobs are some of the most unique types of jobs to get in the world, in my personal opinion. But truly, let's talk about this, because logically speaking, most jobs, they go to your resume and they go to talking to you and they're like, are you going to be a good fit? Can you get the job done? Great, awesome, yes or no, check, 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 no, no, no. And then there's a whole bunch of laws in place to just make sure that we aren't discriminating by age, gender, and ethnicity. Funny thing about acting is that is actually a very important component of a lot of characters and roles and all that. So you can, oh, and moreover, not just if you fit all those things, remember we were talking about last time, you have to have that vibe, that
Mhm.
type, if you will. So there's probably other people on this call where we would get matched in the same ethnicity, gender, and uh, age range, but we have different vibes and energies and all that. So not only, I mean, think about all these things that are going into you getting a job. It's not just are you capable as an actor and have kind of a little bit of a resume to back it up, which we'll talk about today, if you will. You don't always need that much of a resume if all the other stuff is matching up. But what you will notice is that you then have to have all these other things in play too, the physicality and the personality. So that's why it can be a little bit harder to get some of these acting jobs. And so that's why it is a lot easier to get like PA, production assistant work and stuff that gets, thrown around because they're looking for a smart and capable human being, but not necessarily caring what you look like, versus that's what we really need for acting. So let's now talk about why the director of photography and the AD might be the people that have options for you. So the assistant director, this is going to be your person on set that is running around probably with like a chicken with their head cut off, God bless them. And they have that, packet of all the paperwork and everything in their back office or back pocket that they're running around, because it's their job to make sure that all the departments are, running successfully, working together. People have what they need, actors are in the right place, et cetera, et cetera. But I can assure you that most assistant directors do not start out their careers planning to be the assistant director their whole life, because that is a very, wow, that is a tough job. And honestly, a lot of people use that to get their into the union, and then they can start moving up into more full director positions, because that's probably what they started out with, is they wanted that creative opportunity and such, not so much the person that runs around and has to get everything organized. So that's what a lot of assistant directors are doing. One, yes, they probably are really busy trying to get their hours in to get into, their union and stuff. But they probably additionally have those passion projects and creative projects that they're working on the side to give themselves credibility, so that when they are more or less allowed to be like in the industry as union or whatever they're specifically doing, they're needing to build their own reel and resume and stuff. So that's why a lot of them have created, that's what they're working on. The same way that you guys are working on building a resume and reel, they're doing that too. So their stuff is probably, unless, I mean, some of them might be union, but a lot of them, especially what I've noticed, the younger ones, but you guys let me know, they're still non-union. So they're creating like passion projects and stuff that are kind of newer. That's why they might be a good person to connect with. They probably have their own projects that they have a say in the casting, that when they get to know you, they're like, oh, well, maybe you'd be a good fit for, what I have filming next week or something. So they're really good. What I also really, because there's going to be different levels, because some of them, they will be like, they're already super famous and super on board, and they might be at that level of like, oh, the megastar director and megastar producer, that it's like, okay, maybe not worth with as much, like worth building a relationship, but not being overly concerned about getting a job, an indie kind of a job from them. But some other ones, like, well, actually, and I've also met big union ones where they still have their own passion projects, because directors of photography most of the time are hired for their vision, but they don't always get the end all be all creative say. So I've also seen a lot of directors of photographies that like stepping into just the director role in general. And so that's why they have some of their additional passion projects and things on the side. So that's why those are the two people that I've seen, have the most pull and kind of benefit to my career over the years. Amber, Janet, what are you thinking about that?
Oh, you're just so right on. Yes. So, anybody on set that is doing films, filmmakers, PAs, ADs, second ADs, second seconds, DPs, anybody on set can be doing films, and they're awesome if you can make those relationships, start a conversation. You got something going on? Oh, I'm going to put you in my phone and follow up with you to see what you got going on. Maybe I can help you out. Maybe I can act. Maybe I'll help you with casting. Sounds good. And since you're working together, it's just the perfect environment to make these relationships, because the awesome thing is, like, we're often like, how do I make the relationships with people? Well, the film set solves that, because you're working, they're working, you have these little conversations, you help each other out, and it's perfect. It's just so easy. And then you just ask people, hey, what do you got going on? What else are you working on? Are you working on any films? You're doing your own stuff. It's so easy to have these conversations. And then they start talking about, then you're super interested in it. Of course, who are you using as DP? Who are you using as writer? Do you write your own stuff? Oh wow, that's fascinating. It's so easy. And then you exchange information and then you keep in touch with them. And then maybe in like a month, 6 months, whatever, you help them out. Hey, what are you up to? Maybe I can help you out. Super easy. Janice says DPs, absolutely. DPs are always working on other spec projects for other directors and other people. They're always everybody's building their career. Everybody's building their career. So DPs are building their career. ADs are also building their career. They're either ADing or maybe they're directing something, but there's also some very talented production assistants that are building their career. And there's also sound mixers that are also directors. I mean, you just don't know. So just talk to everybody and find out who are the filmmakers. This is so easy to do. I mean, just like very nonchalantly, hey, what do you got going on? Or what else do you do? Do you do any filmmaking yourself? Do you write? What else do you do? So yes, Jana, you are right on. Can you share any stories of when you connected with a DP AD or director? What happened? A story there? That'd be great.
Yeah, I have a couple. So it's very easy where I've seen several right off the bat move into, oh, boom, I'm going to use you right as an extra. And so I know we all aren't necessarily looking for extra positions, but let me talk about that and how that kind of evolved. So I was working on a union TV show. I was working on Elementary, and the AD, super great guy. Really enjoyed working with him. And he was very sweet. And I was only, a PA that they would call for when they needed. But I became one of their regular, oh, if you needed somebody extra, call Jana, which all of you guys should, work your way up to. And so he started, we'd get into conversation, sit with lunch together. And he's like, so what's your deal? Why aren't you here all the time? Because they actually did offer me, they were talking about offering me like a full thing for the next season. And I was like, absolutely not. Please do not hire me as a full-time PA. And he was like, why? What do you do? And so I got to talk about my acting. And then he immediately was like, well, I want to get you, I know this casting person and that casting person. And so he gave me a few really solid contacts that he was able to send an email to this casting director and say, hey, you should meet Jana. So getting those kinds of like direct recommendations are huge, because it's already like somebody saying, hey, they're pre-approved. And so that was really helpful. And so I had some people immediately from that put me on extra roles. Just one, I think they were out of respect for him. They were like wanting to do a fast turnaround of like, yeah, we can use Jana for you.
Oh, sweet.
But it was a really good start into the relationship. And so what I want to talk to you guys, I think a really important thing that's going to come up today that I wanted to dig into was sometimes you can start getting yourself stuck in behind the scenes work, not doing enough in front of the camera work. And it's also because you're not advertising yourself enough for the in front of the camera work. So I'd like to kind of talk about how that ended up for me and different routes that I would like you guys to make sure that you stay aware of. What ended up happening was a few different things. Like I got hired for those extra positions. I kept getting hired for the PA, kept getting hired for production assistant for offices. And then that led to some casting directing. And so I did,
the office production assistant work led to casting directing?
Some, only like one of them, it just happened to. It's again, you just don't
that's
know.
Perfect. That's what I want to know. Yeah, that's what I was curious about, because that was like bing. Okay, office production assistant work led to you casting something.
Because I was so sometimes they were sending me on Gopher, like, please go get me some coffee or whatever. But I appreciated when they trust me to get down to the computer work and help them organize some stuff, though be careful, because that can also turn into production coordinating, and that is a whole other job if you are not prepared for that level of organization. You better come prepared. So that was kind of fun. But then what that ended up being is I had to connect and start talking to some of the actors for them, which means I had to talk to some of the agents, which means I had to talk to the casting director to get all this information. So I was helping them with
Mm.
that from the production side. And then, I followed up with that relationship later because I, had sent so many emails back and forth to this casting director. I was like, if you ever need a hand, happy to help. And that's this all goes back to the art of the follow up, and why um, what I want to explain to you guys today is how you can either get stuck in just working behind the scenes, or how you can use this to empower your in front of the camera opportunity.
Did you actually go to the physical casting director office and make that relationship and then work as their
No.
assistant, or just get on their radar?
Oh, later on. So the first part was, let's
Perfect.
say, I'm so sorry, you guys, you start to do so many commercials, like you can't keep track of all of them. It was one where I had to hire a bunch of dogs. That's all I can remember at this point. But I was talking to this casting director. We kept going back and forth and back and forth. And so, having fast and succinct responses and being responsible and answering all of her questions thoroughly and all that, that helped. And so after we had made it through the war zone that was that commercial, I reached back out to her and I was like, hey, it was really nice meeting you. And by the way, you guys, that email account was one that I was connecting to as the, like most productions, they'll have their own email account. So I specifically, as Jana, had to make sure I saved that personal email address of the casting director. It went in my little notebook because I didn't have access to that, that commercial's private production email account. I had to save that myself. So that's something you guys might have to be aware of. Try to be appropriate about it. Don't be like stealing private agents and actors and stuff if there's no actual relationship there. But it was because we had built a relationship, I wanted to personally send her an email of like, hey, we got to know each other through this commercial, but this is who I am. This is kind of what I do. Really respect what you do. Looked her up, as we're all supposed to do a little bit of research on the people so we can, let them know that we appreciate what they're doing. And I just happened to let her know, like, if you ever need, something, like, hit me up. So that was the day that when she did end up calling me, like, weeks later, she needed somebody to help run the lobby for her. So that means they had called all the actors in and they needed somebody to check them in and tell them when to go back. So that was me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
And you
how we
kept in
kind
touch
of.
with her? You've kept in touch with her since then?
We did
Yeah.
keep in touch. And so right around that time was when I started having I might be moving. And so here's where I want to go into a little bit of the what not to do story. And, sorry, I wish I could say it's all hunky-dory and everything was beautiful, but, I did not do proper follow-ups on different things. And I'm here to tell you today where that leads you to versus when you do proper follow-ups with people. So that's what I'm passionate about talking about today when we get there.
I know
But
there's so much emotion there because we all remember when, oh shit, our
I wish
screw
I'd
up.
done that.
So yeah, we really want to share that. Okay, so that was really good. So if you were to give somebody some advice on working in the office and trying to get these casting opportunities, you can make these relationships, what would it be?
First of all, whenever they hire you as an office PA, ask them specifically, are you hiring me to assist with the office today in terms of going on runs and stuff for you, or need me my computer and be there for you? One, bring it anyways. Just always bring your computer so that you can be ready to jump in just in case. But that's kind of your opportunity to be like, would you like me to do the runs or the computer? because so you know, I have this experience with computer. I am confident. I am good with communication, blah, blah. So that's
Mhm.
your chance to sell that side of it, because that's the side where you're really going to start making more of the connections versus the person that's out grabbing lunch and coffee and stuff, who you're not building the connections as much that way. You're building the connections with being on the good side of the people that are in the office. But just so you know, for production, most of the people in the office are the production coordinator, the production manager, and the producer. Maybe the director will pop in and out, but like you're not the casting directors. You're going to find them through through being somebody on the email, and that probably they might not even put you on that task. Again, you have to stand up for yourself and advocate and be like, hey, I'm good at coordinating with casting, and you guys, if you're not, please please get good at it first.
How can you
But
get
it's
good
a
at
little
it
bit of,
though?
thank you. There we go. It's a little bit of sink or swim. It's not rocket science. Let me just kind of tell you here what you're doing. Normally on those days, and this is what I still do to this day when I have my like casting director days where that's all I'm working on, is you have your email open and you just be prepared to answer all the questions from the agents and managers and all that. And these people want answers ASAP. So even if you send them an answer back that says, okay, great, I'm checking with the production manager right now, I will shoot to get you an answer in the next hour or two. They love you. They love that, of knowing somebody read their email and somebody is moving forward to help them. So be that person that can quickly respond to emails, that can read all of the questions. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes they'll ask you 3 or 4 questions and then people only respond to 1 or 2. If you can respond and get them information on all of them, I just love that about you. I really appreciate it when you can do that for me.
Mhm.
And so that's why I would highly, highly recommend you just be on that day. You be prepared to answer emails. You be prepared to, you know, you might have to interrupt the production manager, the production coordinator or something,
Mhm.
and be like, I need this answer now. So be
Mhm. Mhm.
prepared to be attentive to their needs. So I would say that's the biggest thing. And being professional in terms of, you know, write and complete sentences, do your spell check, make sure things make sense. You can start going down as you start feeling that relationship get a little bit more casual. You can be like, great, gotcha, bye, you know, but at the beginning, it should be like thorough so that they feel like they can trust you and they understand that this person is communicating well and stuff.
You said, but make sure that you've already have some experience talking to casting and talking to agents. And I was like, so how do you get that?
So that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So let's say you don't, then obviously don't lie. Oh my God, please never, ever, 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 because you will get stuck in it and it will not be cute. But what you will want to do is be like, you know, I'm a really good communicator. I do email checks and all that all the time. And specifically like stand up for yourself in terms of saying, this is what I would, okay. So we have to work on it. If you
Yeah.
word it like, oh, you want to hire me as production assistant, an office PA, and well, just, you know, I want to work in casting.
Yeah.
There, you know, that's not too cute, because they're going to be like, well, that's not what we need you to do today. But if you say, oh, great, do you want me to do runs or computer work?
Yeah.
I'm actually really good with computer work. I've experience with, you know, doing a lot of high volume email back and forth and making sure. So I'd be happy to help you to make sure the casting director and, you know, actors have all the information, or agents, anything like that. I like working. Tell them I like working in that area. That doesn't necessarily have to mean I have a lot of experience, but I like working in that area. But, you know, also be open to anything else that they have. So at least it's out there. You've put it out there in the world that that's the kind of stuff that you want to be working on, and that you have that you're working towards. And also, it's really good for you guys, because if you end up looking at some of the castings, you start to realize not everybody is as advanced and as far along as you think. Like you'll see like these headshots and these resumes that maybe in your mind you were like, oh, this person must be a god because they got cast. And you're like, no, they just happen to have kind of the right look and be in the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
So it also, I feel like that really helped calm me down and be more confident when I started working in casting and realizing what was working, what wasn't working, and why.
That was very helpful because now you actually gave us an opening that we can use when we get in the office and work as a production assistant in the office, which is so easy to do. You know, that is going to happen. You're going to work on the office and on the set. So
Mhm.
when you're in the office, just open it up, like Jana says. Um, I got my computer today. I'm really good with reaching out with people, and I love the casting process. If you need any help there, I'm your person. I'm your person. You can be playful about it, you know, just like,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, or if you need help finding restaurants, I'm your person also. Just, you know, these are fun people. And Jana also gave us really great tips. She's like, if they tell you what they need, make sure that you read it and you get responses. And she's also saying that these agents, you know, it's a big deal that they keep them happy. So if you need to break in with the production supervisor and say, and they're wondering about vegan options at lunchtime, don't be afraid. Don't, you know, that's you must relay that information and get answers. Now, you don't do it in a forceful way, but you do it in a very pleasant way. Oh, excuse me, when you have a second, I have got a couple things to go through with you. And you might have your, you know, your computer or your notepad. Vegan options here. Da 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 da. Okay, great. Thanks so much. Back on it, you know?
Yes. Oh, I would say for your PA office days, you have your computer and your charger. For the love of goodness, remember your charger. And then you're also going to want a notebook to be writing everything down, because you're going to be like, as you answer these emails, you're going to need a checklist of, okay, what information do I still need to get? What do I still need to get done? I did 4 or 5 years ago, losing track of time, that helped teach me how to start working behind the scenes in film. And then that's where I started to kind of get my foot in the door in terms of learning about that world and how to build that into my acting career. And so we'll have all the links and stuff for that for you guys to kind of check that out. But basically, you hear us talking about production assistant, production assistant, production assistant. And this is the entry level position that every single set needs, because they need somebody to go get coffee and they need somebody to go hold the door shut and be quiet while we're rolling. They need those people. Every single commercial, TV, film, tiny web short, everybody needs one of those. And so it's the easiest way to get your foot in the door. And then you start working towards the categories and the areas that you're more interested in.
You know, when Janice started, she just knew she wanted to be an actor. Actor, actor, actor. And then she did this program and she got on set and she worked in the camera department. She worked in the production and she worked in art and she worked in AD and she helped out in all these departments. She relaxed about what she was doing and she gained knowledge and understanding of what's going on. And
Mhm.
also worked in casting. But this has created this person that you see in front of you, Jana, who's super knowledgeable, who knows casting, who can confidently say, I can help you with this. I'm good at that. I understand this. Obviously I've worked a lot in production. And this is really what we're doing that is so valuable, is becoming a well-rounded person with knowledge about the professional film industry, not student films where they
Mhm.
really don't know what they're doing. It's all professional industry. And because of that, she's got some muscle. Because guess what, guys? She's interfacing with other professionals out there that they've just focused on their narrow niche. But she comes in with a wider understanding, and then they think that she's a freaking genius. Like, she understands so much. She can talk about production design. She can talk, and they're just like, oh. So she gets a lot of opportunities because she's able to, the way that she's communicating with people shows that she's on it, she's understands, she's connected, she's done a lot, and she's confident. Now, it doesn't mean that she's not scared and has nervous butterflies sometimes. We all do. In fact, just yesterday, when I was working on set, I was like noticing, I'm like, holy shit, you're really tense. And I'm like, this is so good. 23 years in the business, and I still get butterflies, and I'm super, you know, I can get nervous because some stuff can happen, you know, with my technical job. And I'm like, I got to make sure to tell them that. But yes, just so you understand, well-rounded, we still get butterflies. And I think we get butterflies and get nervous because we care so much. You know, it's very important to us. So it doesn't mean stop. It means, oh, this is important to you. But yes, that's what I wanted to say is the real value of what this woman that you see now in front of all of us, she's gone it, she's worked really hard to understand and work in these departments and have these conversations and be helpful. And now she reaps the rewards of that. But she hasn't stopped. She will continue to go in. She uses this to go in the direction that she wants to go.
Thank you
So
so much. Yeah, and I think as we segue into the how to use follow-ups and stuff to make sure that you're working um, in if acting's the way you want to go versus more behind the scenes. So how to make sure that you're on the path that you are planning, with understanding there will be some flexibility involved there. What I want to say right off the bat and free everybody from, it seems silly, like you guys can free yourself, but I'm just going to at least put the words out there. If you decide at some point that acting is not your love and passion and it's not exactly what you want to be doing, that is okay. No, there's no there have been times, so I'll talk to you guys here today. I stepped back from acting a little bit more than I ever thought I would. And I had some people kind of talk about, oh, so you gave up, which is the cruel. You redefined what your dream and your best life is and how you want to go about achieving what you want. So please, if you need, yes, thank you, Lil. If you need to take a break from it to figure out exactly how it's going to play into your life, that's okay, because acting is necessary. We need actors of all ages, every single one. So do not feel like, well, I didn't make it big when I was in my 20s, so I fail and I can give up and I'll never do it again. I have plenty of my students and stuff these days are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are coming back to it after, oh, I gave it a little bit of a run, in college and then wasn't sure. So just wanted to send you guys some love there as you figure out this journey for yourself and understand that you might come to a place where you realize you love all these other areas so much that you actually don't want to be doing as much acting. So yes, everybody feeling okay there? Nobody feeling like they're gonna, it shouldn't be a distraction. It should be a clarification of working these other jobs, I feel like. So what I did when I first moved to New York was I found Janet within like my first month of living there. And honestly, I can tell you that first month, I hated it because I was doing the full-time actor thing of working, doing my survival job, which was hanging lights and putting in sound systems for private events and theaters. So it was a lot of physical labor. And then when I wasn't doing that on my off hours, which was every day for probably about 3 hours a day, I was looking through all the submission sites and doing submissions and just submitting to anything and everything. And I was totally getting burnt out at both ends because you're putting so much energy into building your acting career and you're putting so much energy into just surviving. And so that's really why I was drawn to Janet's program, because it was like, I feel like we can start to put, those two pieces together so that I can at least be getting work that does serve my acting career. And so I had a great time. But what I didn't do those first several months that I really want to make sure that you guys are aware of is I didn't do as great of a job with following up as an actor. I got work every single day. I was working within the first 2 months of the program. Now, granted, I wasn't a huge city. I was in New York City. But within the first 2 months, I had not only paid off my entire program, but I also was set up. I worked something like 4 months straight, and we're talking weekends too, because you can book yourself solid. If you were freelance, you can do that. I don't recommend it because your mental health is very important. And then you also aren't spending time on your acting career. You're just working and then occasionally networking on set. But I wasn't, doing my regular submissions. I wasn't going to any acting classes to specifically be working on that. I wasn't going to dance class, which really makes me happy. So I kind of went too far in one or the other direction. So that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today, is in terms of the follow-up and the balance of it all. After about 2 years of just like going full time almost with very little like additional attention to my acting career, I was like, no, let me full on get back to that, not just the occasional, but like, this is what I really need to be focusing on. Ended up producing a play, and that was awesome. And I got to star in it. And so then which, sorry, that's sometimes how we do it. But I knew I needed something on my resume. And so I was able to then take that and advertise it to all of my production friends. Do you guys realize there were so many of them? Over half of them were like, oh my God, Jana, I had no idea you were an actor. And that just kind of like hit me right here. I was like, I did not do a good job of promoting and holding myself out as that over the past several years. I had let myself, just, oh, okay, I need another job. I need another job. I need another job, without like really standing up for myself and reminding everybody that I met that, and there's a right and a wrong way to do it, which we'll talk about, that no, this is a really important part of my world too. So I let a bunch of my social media and everything was just me posting, being on set with my production headset and cap and all that. So people could tell production. Okay, Jenna does production. It all goes back to marketing. I just was marketing myself as a production person at that point. I wasn't doing enough to show that I was actively working on an acting career as well. And so that's really what you want to be doing with these contacts. You want to make sure that they don't forget about it. You mention it once, but you want to make sure, and because there's plenty of people that mention, oh yeah, I do a little bit of acting on the side, but it's whatever. It's not a serious thing to them. But if it is what you actually want, you need to make sure that that is consistently advertised and promoted to them. It is kind of annoying when people just kind of come up and they're like, I'm an actor, blah, blah, blah. And they're not focused on the job for the day. They're not doing the PA. And I'm like, oh my God, just do your job. It comes to that point where people want to know what else is about you. They want to know how to stay in touch. And that is your chance to make sure that that part of your narrative, that part of your life is tied in. But that's why I keep saying it goes back to that follow-up, because you can't just tell them once. They will remember you as the PA. They have that physical experience of you as the PA that they worked with that day. But then if they have it on your business card, and you guys start following each other on social media, and they start seeing all your social media has acting and stuff on there too. And you start, consistently every other month or so have something to invite them to come see or to watch or whatever. That's what starts getting stuck in their head. Not just PA Jana who was wearing a baseball cap, but like, oh yeah, I remember her professional photos, and I've seen a little bit of her reel and stuff. I know it's a lot of nuances in terms of just reading social cues of like, be there and do the job that you were hired to do, but then be prepared to stand up for yourself and point out other ways that you can be of assistance to them in the future.